Hi friends, happy Friday. Oh my god, it's Friday. Okay, I had no idea what day of the week it was. Honestly, happy Friday and happy day 8. It is obviously nighttime that I'm filming this. I definitely get energy at night, as you can tell, because I upload these videos very late and film the outros super late. But today we're doing a little bit of a sit down chit chat type video. And I want to say a couple things. One, sorry that this lighting is super weird. It's just the lighting in my room. And if I were to turn on my actual lights, it would be very yellow. So we're just gonna go with the vibey half red lighting and we're just gonna work with it. There's that. Two, I'm drinking tea in one of my Stardust design mugs, and you guys can shop these below. So I always put in the descriptions of the videos the link to shop my merch and product clothing line. So this is one of them. It says something must be going on astrologically. We have two mugs. We have this, and then we have another mug that says hot, rich, and that bitch, which is super cute. So you and I are just gonna snuggle up, have a tea, and have a chat. I wanted to make a YouTube video talking about my house and my house situation, because a lot of you who are watching these vlogs follow me in all the places. You guys are probably friends with me on Facebook or in my Facebook group. You might be on my email list. You listen to my podcast, you follow me on Instagram, you've been watching these vlogs. A lot of you are in all the places. You're in my world with me. You're doing life with me. And I live my life online. I live a lot of the life that I'm living in person online. I share a lot. I tell you guys all of the stories about my life. The same stories I'm telling like my best friends and my family, I'm telling you guys and sharing online. I'm always posting stories of everything. I honestly feel like I'm telling the people on Instagram more about my life than sometimes my friends. And I a lot of times just expect my friends to know what's going on in my life because I'm like, oh, well, duh, I like share it all on Instagram. So I feel like you guys are my friends, honestly. And so I wanted to have a sit down chat about the house situation because so many of you have been following along the entire process. And if you're brand new and you've just found me on YouTube, or maybe you've been subscribed to me since I did YouTube like way before and you're like, what fucking house situation? I'm going to explain. So grab your tea, grab a water, get snug in a blanket with me, put on your jammies. We're gonna go down a little ride together and I'm excited. I'm excited to chat. I feel like we're having like a little girlfriend sleepover chat time. So we're gonna begin by talking about when I started looking at houses. So I was living in Bali for 3.5 months at the very beginning of this year. I got back home to the States in the middle of April and I started looking at houses in LA at the beginning of March. I knew I would be moving back from Bali and I knew I wasn't going to be staying in Nebraska, and I knew I wanted to move to LA. Basically, LA is the only place in the US that I would probably ever live. I just don't really resonate with anywhere else. It's just not my vibe. I don't like living in Nebraska, and LA has just always been on my heart. My entire life I knew I was going to move to LA. And I keep pushing back these moves. I've been supposed to move to LA so many times now, and it finally felt right. And I finally felt like I want to get a house. I want to have space. I want to have an office. I want to have a guest room, be able to host people. I want to have a space for filming, whether it's IG content or filming for my programs or filming for YouTube or my future reality show that my team's gonna be working on, like all this stuff. I just wanted a house. I've never had a house of my own. And since living on my own, when I started living alone, I was like 15 or 16, but it was in my family home by myself, not by choice. And then I lived in a house once when I moved out in high school. Really complicated situation, but I've never had my own house, and I definitely wanted one. So in March I started looking and I found a house that I really liked in LA, in West Hollywood, and I reached out to the agent about, asking questions, asking if I could do a virtual tour or whatever. And so Lisa, my faithful real estate agent, I don't know what I would do without her. I'm so grateful for her every day on this journey. She reached out and we set up a virtual FaceTime tour, and she asked kind of what were my needs and found other houses that were also available so I'd have options. She did all the work for me, found a list of beautiful homes, a lot of which that I liked, and then I found one house I really loved loved. And I was like, this one, this one, this one. And then after she got to talking, she found out that the one I really loved was being leased. And she was like, it's being leased, but she's like, but I talked to the agent of that house and they have a property that's about to go to market. She said that they're willing to reduce the price to what I set as my maximum and give it to me and let us take a look and do a FaceTime tour before anyone else if I want to snatch it up before it goes to market. And I was like, yeah, like, let me see the house. I'm super interested. Obviously, if it's in my price range, like, I want to see. She sent me the link, and this house blew my socks off. It blew me away. And it still takes my breath away thinking about this house. I remember so vividly being in my Bali villa and opening the link to this house and just being like, holy shit, from the first photo I saw. And I remember scrolling through the pictures, there was like 30 of them, and being like, oh my God, with the most overwhelming feeling of this is it, this is the one. And I texted her and I was like, oh my God, that house is incredible. And she's like, I know, and it's such a steal since they're giving you a deal. She's like, since it's not at market yet and they're giving you a deal, they're probably gonna want things to go quickly. And I'm like, that's fine. Let me know when we can set up a FaceTime tour. We did a FaceTime tour, and I mean, on the tour, I was like, I want it. I'm like, that's the one. This is everything I didn't even realize I wanted all into one house. I want that house. I decided that day. And she was like, great, well, the agent's here. I'll talk to him about what paperwork they want and what documents they need from you, and we'll go from there. And the same day, she sent me the application. I submitted it all and crossed my fingers, and I was like, holy shit, I just applied for a house. I just applied for the most amazing house. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Freaking out. And then she asked for all of like the normal paperwork you need for income. And so I had to get together all my income, which is actually a little bit complicated because I'm self-employed and I didn't have a business account at the time. I didn't have my business registered yet as like an LLC or sole proprietor or anything like that, nothing. And so I was like, okay, chasing down paperwork here, there, and everywhere to prove my income. And I was going through so many limiting beliefs of like, holy shit, like, am I gonna make enough? Are they gonna be happy with that? Because I made enough to cover rent, but I didn't know if it was enough to make them comfortable. And I was like, oh my God, what if they don't accept it? All the fears and limiting beliefs. Sent through all the paperwork, and my agent told me that they weren't comfortable with my income, that they weren't sure. They like had questions about stuff. They're like, we're not sure how you're paying rent. And I'm like, all the paperwork shows that I could pay rent, but they basically wanted me to be making more so rent wouldn't be taking up so much of my income. It wouldn't be taking up all, but it'd be taking up a good chunk. And so they were like, well, my agent told me, she's like, the best way to do this is to pay the deposit and then pay a couple months rent up front, and that will make them feel a lot better. And I was like, okay, if that's what it's gonna take, then let's fucking do this. And so she told me that, and I started to get things together and start to figure things out, like all the financial stuff. I actually flew back from Bali straight to LA. I got to tour the house. I met their real estate agent. I got to walk in the house. And I will never forget that moment. In my entire life, I'll never forget that moment of walking through the fence and pushing open the door and looking to the right and seeing like the 4 steps down to the living room and taking my shoes off, because I was like, why would I wear shoes in my house? We're taking off my shoes and walking down those 4 steps and looking in the living room and looking at the pool and the fountain and the hot tub and the lawn chairs. And it was a beautiful day in LA, so blue, so many clouds. And we were looking at the beautiful white kitchen and being like, holy shit, this is gonna be my house. Like, this has got to be my house. And I probably walked up and down the stairs of this house and into every room like 4 times. I took selfies in the bathroom. I posted it on Instagram, and I was like, this is my first selfie in my house. And I took a video of the view from the rooftop. It was everything. It was ever, I will never forget that moment for my entire life. And I left, I put my shoes back on, I walked out and I talked to the house agent and I was like, I want it. I was like, I'm gonna contact my agent, like we're gonna figure this out. And he talked to me, and up until this point, I hadn't heard about my application. They were asking about a lot of financial stuff and they hadn't told me if I was actually approved or not for the house. So I was in a weird limbo state where I'm like, keeping my hopes up. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm approved. So like, I'm not sure if I should start gathering all this money. I don't know. I'm just confused. There was no closure. And so I was talking to the agent and he said, he was like, you know, everything looks great. He's like, you're approved. They accepted the application. It's just going to be getting like that bigger deposit to make the landlords feel comfortable. And so that day was like a mini celebration for me. Like I just walked into my house and took off my shoes and felt the grass in my feet and walked through the whole house and like really imagined myself living in that master and how I would organize my closet and the furniture I'd want on the rooftop, and then I even heard that I was accepted, and it was just like the best day ever. And then I went back to my Airbnb and ordered Veggie Grill and like just celebrated and had the best time. And it was such a day. It was such a day. And then I came home to Nebraska. And basically since then, up until yesterday, I've been doing like everything in my power to get the financial stuff together, because the house is not cheap. These monthly payments I'm paying for rent, a lot of people would think are astronomical, but I like what I like and I'm going to choose to put my money where I want to put my money, and that's that. However, I didn't have the amount of savings of what they wanted up front with like the deposit plus all those months of rent. So for me, I don't take no for an answer. I never have and I never will. And ever since I was young, I always told myself I will never be limited by money. My experiences will never be limited by money. There's always a way to figure it out. So when I got home, that's what I set my mind to, was figuring it the hell out. That was just the only answer, the only option. And I'd been doing everything in my power to make the money happen. I started applying for personal loans, and I started doing that in Bali, actually, starting applying for the personal loans before I even found out I was accepted for the house. I was like, we got to start making this work. As soon as I found out they wanted a huge chunk of cash, I started working towards it. And I had gotten, I had one loan that was like processed and then denied. And so then when I got home, I went and talked to my bank and I'm like, hey, I don't really understand why this was denied, and had an appointment with my banker and all this. And then me and my banker decided that the best option would be not taking a personal loan, but taking a business loan, because it's actually a little bit easier to get a business loan than it is like a personal life loan. And so I was like, okay, great. Well, like, how do we do a business loan? And to do a business loan, you need to have your business registered. So I was like, okay, went back home, and then I had to register my business as an LLC, which is great because I already needed to do that. So I did that, and then I had to register my business with the IRS because you need like a special number. It's called an EIN. And that was great because I needed to do that anyways. And then on top of that, they wanted me to have my taxes done to see how much money I'd made in my business last year. I was like, great, needed to do that too. However, all of that pushed back the timeline a little bit. It took me a while to figure out the paperwork for the LLC because I was doing it myself, not with an attorney, which is totally legal. You don't have to have an attorney doing it. It's easier if you have somebody doing your paperwork, but I was just trying to get everything done as fast as possible. So, and in Nebraska, the paperwork that I needed done for the registration, they don't give you a template. There's certain things you have to include, but they just make you make your own. So I had to like find a template, and it was just very DIY situation, which is interesting because I haven't done a DIY situation in a very long time. Like, I'm in a position where I hire help for all of the things. And so I was just like back to square one, like getting super resourceful. Had to do all the LLC paperwork, got that through, got the EIN number, did my taxes like a big girl, got all my ducks in a row, and then made an appointment with my banker. And then I get there and I give her all the paperwork, and she's like, actually, we also need these papers to go with this. And these were papers that she had never mentioned to me before, that I didn't even know what they were. She was expecting to be with the LLC paperwork, but they weren't there, so then I had to go home. I was very frustrated because at this point, this process had been taking so long and the communication of the banks is really delayed because of coronavirus going on. So it's like so many people are needing loans and financial support. The banks are obviously like, there's a lot of push for the banks, and then also they don't have as many people working, and just like a whole thing. So I left very frustrated that day because I walked into the bank that day thinking, holy shit, we're gonna finish the application, I'm gonna get this loan, and I'm gonna get my fucking house, and I'm gonna be able to pack up all my shit and leave in like 2 weeks. And I remember getting dressed up and like doing my makeup and telling my boyfriend like, today's the day I get my house. And I remember messaging the girls in this business program I'm in, this business mastermind, being like, today's the day that I get my house, like today is the day. And leaving the bank being told I needed more paperwork was really frustrating. Went straight to Target, bought stuff to make mimosas, and I was really angry, and I threw a hissy fit, and I let myself be human and feel my emotions, but I was really frustrated. So then I went through the process of putting together more paperwork and sent it to my banker. Finished that all within the week, sent it to my banker for her to call me the next day and tell me that because of how things have progressed with Corona and funds and all of the mess that's going on right now, that the bank has stopped doing personal and business loans. They've just put it on pause just because of everything going on. And she called me and she explained that, and she explained all of my options, and she was very helpful and had lots of information. And she's like, I'm sorry, I know this is really frustrating and you were really like in need of this quickly, I don't, whatever. So we had that conversation, hung up the phone, and I wasn't sad or mad after that. I was just kind of like, I'm gonna have to figure it out some other way. Every time something would happen, I'm like, okay, well, we just gotta figure it out some other way. Just gotta figure it out some other way. Gotta find another way. Every single time it was like, okay, couldn't get a personal loan here, let's apply for a personal loan there. Couldn't get a personal loan there, like, let's see if we can get a business loan. Okay, well, we gotta, it's just like, for me, I don't give up. When one door is shut in my face, I open another one. I go out the window. I go into the air conditioning pipes. Like, you can't stop me and you can't silence me. That's just the type of person I am. I'm just so resilient. I will not give up on the things that I'm really, really passionate about and that I really, truly desire. So she told me they're no longer doing loans. I didn't feel sad or anything. I just felt like it's go time. Like we've got to figure something else out. And from there I journaled and I was like, universe, like, guides, angels, like, please, I need guidance. What's next? Because this whole time I've been asking for guidance and I've been following all the downloads I got, and I'm like, please, what's the next step? I'm just feeling so lost. I've been doing everything in my power. It's not working out. Like, and I trust that it's working in its own divine way, but what would you have me do? And the next thing was asking the only human being I know who is well off financially. I only know one person. I'm not related to them. I only know one person financially well off that I thought would maybe have the funds that I needed. So I asked this person, and this person had the majority of their money in the stock market, which did take a hit with all the stuff going on in the world. So that person was not able to help me out either. And after that, I had a meltdown. I was like, I have tried everything in my power I know to make this happen. I'm like, I don't know what else to do other than pull through a fucking miracle. And obviously I run my own business. I make my own money. Money is still coming in like normal, but I didn't want to put that amount of pressure on my business because I'm like, it'll just happen how it happens. I don't want to make the how be my business. And so I just kind of held this space and like let myself kind of, not even let myself, I just kept myself open, I guess. I was just open to downloads. I was open to it coming through in any way it needed to. I was just open and ready and willing. Willing most, first and foremost. Willing most of all. So I was willing. And then cue yesterday when I was going to pick up my car, sat down, my boyfriend's car, and we started driving to a gas station because he wanted to get sunflower seeds. and I get a text and it's from my agent, and I instantly, like, my heart is pounding because she knew I was waiting on funds from the bank, and I hadn't told her when they weren't giving out loans anymore, because once she texts me, or once I say I'm going to do one plan, if that doesn't work out, I want to have another plan in place before I tell her what's going on, so I look like I have my shit together, because I want to have a plan in place. So I hadn't told her about the loan thing yet, and she texted me and I was like, oh shit, my heart starts pounding. I'm like, like I'm holding my breath, kind of freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, what is she gonna say? Is she gonna ask me about this loan? What am I gonna tell her? I don't have a plan yet. I don't know how this is gonna happen. I'm like freaking out. And I open the text. She goes, blank, the street that this house is on, I'm not gonna tell you guys, blank is leased. Do you want me to send you other options? That was it. Blank is leased. Do you want me to send you other options? And I think my whole world froze in that moment. I just looked at the text. I was actually responding to somebody who was asking about buying something from me. I was like in Facebook Messenger, like texting to somebody when I got that text message. And I just stopped what I was typing and I looked at the message and I locked my phone and I set it down, and then I sat like this in the car. And I just breathed. I just breathed. And I just sat there for a minute. And then I went to the gas station with my boyfriend. And then we came out of the gas station and a dime literally fell from the sky in front of me. And I was like, did you just drop that dime? And he was like, no. The dime literally fell from the sky right in front of me, and I picked up the dime and I go, thank you, universe, because I always do that when I find change. And I sit down in the car and I just start bawling my eyes out. And I finally told him, I was like, blank. I said I lost the house. That's what I said. I said I lost the house. Or I probably said I lost my house. That's probably what I said. I was just crying and crying. I was like, somebody leased it. Somebody got to it first. That's shitty. Felt really shitty. And then I texted the most involved people and told them about it. And I was like, yeah, this is it. I lost the house. It happened. Or it didn't happen, I guess. My whole world kind of froze for that drive. An hour of crying on and off and not really knowing what to do and not really knowing how to respond to my real estate agent. I was embarrassed. I was like, I was embarrassed I couldn't make it happen faster. But it's like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I showed up to the plate over and over and over again. Like, the amount of times I was knocked down and set back, like, I can't even tell you the amount of times in this one video. If I told you like every single little milestone and bump of this, like we would be watching a 45-minute video. There's nothing to be embarrassed about when you put up a fight, when you put your best foot forward. I gave it all I had, the whole process. I had so many meltdowns. I really stood my ground for so long. I fought so hard for that house. There's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about when I put up that good of a battle. Most people would have taken one of the closed doors and given up. And I took probably 20 closed doors and still went through the window. I don't give up. There's nothing to be embarrassed about then. And if it didn't work out, there's a goddamn fucking reason why it didn't work out. And so I let myself feel my feelings, of course, because I'm still a human. I still put up that fucking battle, and I love that house. I love that house so much. It will always have a special place in my heart. I'll never forget the moment I walked in that house. The feeling I had. I will never forget that moment. But everything happens for a reason. Every single time. And I don't question that or doubt that ever. So that happened yesterday. And I texted my agent and I was like, wow, I'm really bummed. I said, that makes me really sad. I really loved that house. I wish I could have gotten the funds together faster. And she was like, she literally said, it's okay, hun. It just wasn't meant to be. We'll keep looking. She's the most supportive woman. She's so amazing. I'm like, God bless your soul. And then she immediately sent me more listings of houses like the exact style I like and want. And nothing really, I don't know, piqued my interest. I didn't really fancy anything specifically. It's kind of hard to go from looking at your dream house every day for 6 weeks and seeing it and being in it and feeling it and visualizing it every single day to looking at other houses. That's kind of a hard feeling. And I just wasn't pleased with any of them. And I'm not the type of person that settles. I'm like, I don't like any of these houses. So then I started to do my own search and look in other areas, because she was looking at a very specific area I had told her to look in that I was looking at before. And I was like, well, I don't really like anything that's in that area right now. So like, let's expand our interest. It's like, if the one house I thought was the most perfect house in the perfect neighborhood, in the perfect place, it was the most perfect thing in the world. If that didn't work out, there's a reason. Maybe I'm meant to be in this area or this type of house, or, you know, the possibilities are endless. And all I can do, the only constant, is just trusting and following my intuitive nudges. So I started looking on my own and I found this amazing house that I love. Completely different neighborhood, about 20 minutes away from where I was looking, but still like totally doable, beautiful, beautiful area. And found this amazing house. And I sent it to my agent this morning, literally this morning. And I was like, I did some digging. I love this house. It's a different neighborhood, but I'm open to looking anywhere. I was like, can you find out more information for me? She's like, yeah. She's like, oh, I didn't know you were looking in that area. She's like, I'll send you some more over there and I will get in contact with their agent. So then she sent me even more houses in that area to look at, which a couple more are really, really beautiful and incredible. And then contacted that agent for that house that I found that is super incredible. And she told me today, not too long ago, she was like, they've agreed to do a 1-year lease. They're okay with you having pets, blah, blah, blah. Like, they just want to know that your pets are well behaved and will be like good to go. And I was like, awesome, you know, like awesome. This will be so easy. I'll get to apply and the deposit's nothing insane, and like I'll just be able to pay. It will be good and it'll be like perfect and fall into place. And I was like, awesome, like of course, of course. And so we're in the process of that right now. We're gonna do a couple FaceTime tours next week. There are 3 houses that I like, the one that I found plus 2 others that she found that I want to look at and like weigh my options. They're all in like little different parts of this one area. And so the process continues. But I wanted to share this story because a lot of you have been watching from the sidelines this whole time and rooting me on and supporting me and just sending me the home vibes. And this is a journey we're all taking together. I'm leading this journey so I can support my clients to go through this journey as well. Like everything I lead myself through, I know that I get to lead somebody else through this same process down the road. And that's the most exciting thing in the world for me. Like the fact that maybe one of my clients will also be looking for a multi-million-dollar house and that I get to tell them this is the process for application. If you need a loan, this is what you need. Also now I have all my business shit set up. I got my taxes done, which I was going to do anyways, but it made me like really sit down and finish them in a timely manner. I also got my LLC for my business, which is exciting. So now I can like guide my clients through getting their businesses registered and doing taxes. And I learned so many lessons along the way that it doesn't matter what house I get. Obviously, I'm going to get a beautiful house. Like, don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter which house I end up with. The house is going to be amazing at the end of the day. It doesn't matter which one. But this journey has been so incredible. I've learned so much about resiliency. Like, I handled so much more than I ever thought I could. Some days were so painful and unsure, uncertain, and just the unknown fully moving through my veins every day, to where you like just don't even know what to do with yourself because you're like, I have no idea. I have no idea. it was such a process, and I grew so much. I matured. I got so many things done, so many big girl things done. It was just the most beautiful experience of my life. Like, it's so incredible. There are so many good things that came out of it. And I've gotten some messages today from people, like really sweet messages saying I'm sorry and things like that. And I'm in good spirits about it. I cried about it, of course. I fucking love that house. And I'm human, but I'm in great spirits about it. Like, the things I learned, it's so much more than just about a house or about a car or about a handbag or about $1 million a year or business. Hey, we had to reset because my camera started to overheat. But what I was saying was, it's about so much more than the things you're manifesting. It's about so much more than the money, and it's not about the thing. It's not about the destination. It's always about the journey, which is the most cheesy thing, but I'm really learning that, like, so deeply, because it's like I learned so many things, and so many things got done in that time that I was working on all of this, that it doesn't matter if I got the house. I did my fucking taxes. I got my business registered. I have a registered business. My name is an LLC. It's a pretty big fucking deal to me. It's about so much more. And one thing that I really took away from this experience is the fact that I didn't give up after one closed door, which I've never given up after one closed door before in my life. That's why I am where I am. That's why I've gotten to this point. But this one was different. There were so many times where I started to question myself and think, like, am I crazy? Am I doing the wrong thing? Like, was this a bad decision? What did I get myself into? What did I get myself into? I asked myself that all the time when I was in Bali. What have I done? Have I gone crazy? Questioning myself like no fucking other. I've never questioned myself so deeply so many times. And I just never gave up. If I had given up, say early on, they said they want the big deposit up front. If I said I can't do that and just given up, I don't know. I wouldn't have known if I was ever even accepted for the house. I wouldn't have known if I could have ever gotten the house, because I wouldn't have put up the fight. After I got denied the first time for a loan, if I had never gone back and asked about another type of loan, who knows how long it would have taken me to do my fucking taxes? Who knows if I would have gotten my business registered? Who knows if I would have gotten the loan? Who knows if I would have set up business accounts? Who knows if I would have gotten approved for the house? Who knows if I would have gotten the house? I wouldn't have known, because I wouldn't have put up the fight. Now it's becoming more apparent and more important to me than ever that you cannot give up, because if you give up, you will never know if you could have made it to the other side. And I know that I couldn't have gotten that house because I put up the fight. That house was not meant to be mine, or else it would have been. And now I can go to sleep, and I can sleep at night knowing that. If you give up, how can you sleep at night never knowing if you could have gotten the thing that you wanted? If you had a dream to be an actress in Hollywood, but you didn't get one show that you went to a casting for. Say you went to a casting, they denied you. If you gave up on your dream, how could you sleep at night never knowing if you could have made it or not? Because you gave up after one closed door. I will never give up after one closed door, because how I feel now is so much gratitude. It's insane. I feel so much gratitude for the whole process. I feel gratitude that I never gave up, even though it was so painful and so grueling, and I lost sleep and I was exhausted and I had no energy. It was amazing. I did that. And even though I didn't get the house I wanted, oh fucking well. There are so many more beautiful ones. Like, it's insane. You have to be willing to see things through. Whether or not the end result's what you want, you'll find that the end result is not actually the big fucking deal. It's not. It's more fun building a product line and a clothing line than just like having it. It's fun building it. It's fun going through the process. The challenge is the fun part. It's the fun part getting in shape rather than just like having the abs. It's the fun part of making the money and ordering the handbag and watching it ship and then getting to style it than it is to just have the handbag in your closet. It's the journey, it's the process. So that's what I have to say about it. I'm not sad. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I learned so many lessons. I have so many other beautiful houses I'm looking at. It's just been such a fucking journey. It's been awesome. And one thing that I really cheersed to was the fact that I shared so much of this journey publicly. Like, I announced I was manifesting a house. I've been taking my clients along the behind the scenes, writing about how I feel in the process and posting updates and telling my friends and my family. It's really easy to go chase something you've never chased before alone and hide. Because there's always that scary chance that you're chasing it and you don't get it. And when only you knows that you're chasing it, it's a lot easier to deal with the result of not getting it. It's easier because then you don't have to explain to people why you didn't get the house. You don't have to tell your friends and your family. You don't have to deal with the pity, the I'm sorries. That's a lot easier. But it's more fun to bring people along for the ride because people get excited with you and they cheer you on and they want the best for you and they celebrate with you and they hug you when you're upset when you don't get the thing. And at the end of the day, while you might feel embarrassed, while you might be like, oh, I'm embarrassed I shared all of this online or with all my friends and my family that I went for this and I didn't get it, you're still going to be alive at the end of the day. You're still alive. You made it through. You put up a good fucking fight, and that's what matters. And people will applaud you for that. I was talking to my mom today, and she was like, you put up a fight for that. And that's something to be proud of. Not embarrassed. Not embarrassed. So, that's the story of the house. I will be updating you guys every step of the way, of course. But with that being said, I'm going to edit this video, put it up, and go to bed. So, I love you. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you tomorrow.